Also a thrill for the fans of Knight Rider star David Hasselhoff, who was on hand, along with his car Kit. David was there to sign autographs, and I had a chance to speak with him during a break. David, let us welcome you to Good Day. Let me ask you first about Knight Rider, which obviously is important, and specifically the most recent episode, because this is a special one for you. Maybe people saw it just a few nights ago on Friday night.
Mm-hmm. This was a show that I fought for about 4 months with the studio and the network. They have an idea of Knight Rider, and so do I. Their idea is Kit versus Rockets of the Week and Tank of the Week. You know, they must have a big adversary for Kit. My idea of Knight Rider is about people, emotions, humor, and charm. And they said this show is too mushy. I said, hey, wait a second. I'm going to marry my wife on TV. She recreated her role. She did 2 other episodes of Knight Rider before playing the same character. Right. So I said, we wanted to do a trilogy in the beginning. Boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl. And then we had the whole idea that she was going to get killed because you can't have the Knight Rider married. So it was a big fight. I came up with a whole idea, came in and mapped it out for the guys. And I said, look, I can get incredible press on this.
In The Young and the Restless, the biggest, absolutely the biggest star in daytime TV, and you gave it up. Now, did you give it up because it was a courageous move? Did you give it up because you were bored? What? Why would you give that up?
Both of those reasons. One, it was courageous because they kept offering me buckaroos to stay.
How much did they offer you?
They offered me $2,000 a day, and I was working 4 and 5 shows a week. So it's a lot of money. In daytime, it's a lot of money.
10 grand.
Yeah, and it was, and I said no.
Why?
I was bored. I was tired of talking about furniture. My wife kept saying, why won't you buy furniture? I said, I got to take care of the kids in the ghetto. The storyline went on 6 months, you know, and I felt like Hercules and the Mole Man. You go to work, you know, before the dawn, you come out, and there's no sunlight at CBS. So it was a great beginning. It gave me great training, and I just took it on a whim. And the only reason I got Knight Rider, because when I left, I struck out on about 7 series, and I said, here it is, babe, you're out of work. So I was going to go to New York and try musical comedy, which is what I started in. But I got Knight Rider because I was on an airplane, and Brandon Tartikoff was on the same airplane. And he kept looking at me real strange, and I turned to the guy next to me, and I said, this guy's looking at me real strange. He says, that is no strange guy, that is the head of NBC. So I did hair, makeup, and nails, and went up to try and meet him, and I'll make a long story short, I tested for Knight Rider the very next day. And
he talked to you on the plane?
No, I couldn't get to him because it was turbulence, and the stewardess said, sit down. I said, what do you mean, sit down? I said, there's a job over there. I just struck out in 7 series. I'm out of work. So I came home, and I said to my wife, do you know a guy named Brandon something or other? And she goes, my wife, his name is Catherine Hicklin. She's on Capitol, used to be on a show called Texas. And she said, yeah, he's the head of NBC Entertainment. And I said, well, I think he noticed me on the airplane. The next day, the phone rang, and your manager said, I've been trying to get you in on this role for 6 months, but they wouldn't see you. The president of NBC wants to test you. So right then and there, I knew it. I said, this is it.
David, I'm confused by one thing. You said to your wife, do you know, you weren't married at the time?
No, I was not married to her
then. But you were with her?
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
okay.
Right. She's my fiancée.
Right, okay. And Knight Rider hits, and you're in business.
Knight Rider hits, and they say, you got good news and bad news, kid. You got a series, but you're up against Dallas. And every paper in the country, and probably including yours, panned it and said it was a show about an old man, a stud, and a talking car. And David Hasselhoff was a hood ornament. I don't know anymore. I think I'm the talking car. I could be the hood ornament. But we persevered. We believed in the show, man, from day one. I mean, I said, you know what? I said, write the bad reviews. At least somebody's writing about us. And
let me talk another aspect of your career. And I'm not trying to ignore Knight Rider. Mention as much as you want. You worked in the Cartier affair,
right,
with a woman by the name. What's her name again?
Joan Collins.
Yes,
the good bitch of the West.
You want to give us an honest feeling of what that was like working with her? Now, you say the good bitch of the West. There's lots of different stories about this particular woman, Mr. H.
I would get up in the morning and I'd knock on our door about 6 o'clock and I'd say, good morning, Joan. You're throwing your tantrum today. Would you get it out of the way so we can have some fun? And she'd go, oh, God, David, come in. We fell in deep like. Right away. Right away. I mean, she's a professional, and she's a perfectionist. And
difficult to work with, David.
If she doesn't get her way, she'll have your head. But with me, it was a piece of cake. We hit it off great. We had no problem. We only had one fight on the show, and that was just a difference of opinion about a scene. But no, we had a ball. Besides, she's got the best thighs in Hollywood. The woman is still beautiful.
In Peter Pan, is that correct?
Where did you find that? I like that. That's cool. That's cool. Peter Pan. I played Nibs.
You didn't even have the lead.
I didn't get the lead. I was in Atlanta, Georgia, and a place called the I can't remember the name of the theater. The Academy Theater in Buckhead. It's still there, as a matter of fact, in Atlanta, Georgia. And from that, we built a theater in a guy's basement. And there was about 20 kids. And we did plays. We paid royalties. It was a 24-seat house. And we were like...
How old were you at this time?
13. 12 and 13. We produced them, directed them, musical comedies.
Were you in school at the time?
Oh, yeah. After school, we'd go there. It was called the Valley Theater. And it was run by this kid named Gary Ink, and he was the producer-director, and I was the little star.
And was it at this particular time of your life, you knew you're going to be, this is your future, there's no question about it?
Yeah, I think it's important. If you, at 7 years old, I knew I was going to be a big star. You know, it was like this, I don't know why. I just believed it. It was...
What happened at 7?
At 7, I saw a play called Rumpelstiltskin, and I said, that's it. That's what I want to do. And I think if you believe and you find out what you want, you create your own environment. I believe in positive thinking. I believe in affecting my environment instead of the environment affecting me. You know, you got to come in and take over if you're going to make it in this world. And I think when I was 7 years old, somehow that came in my head. Then when I got to Hollywood, I realized it's a different story. But now that I look back and I talk to the kids, I just tell them if you get involved as early as possible to find out if you really want to do it, because it's a rough road and it's a very unfair road. And it is full of heartbreak, and it's full of pressure, and it's full of major problems.
Let me pick up. Give me that. I mean, here you are, obviously terrifically successful. Guys think you're terrific looking, and women are clearly falling over their feet to get to you.
Where are they?
They're here, David. Now, just hold on.
Stand up.
David, hold on. Where's the heartbreak? Where's the pressure? Where have been your failures? I read through your career, and I see a fabulous road to success, and quick.
Yeah.
Where's the heartbreak? Where's the unfairness? Where have you been treated unfairly, David?
Unfairly, it's not as if I've been treated unfairly, but other people have. I have dear friends that should be working, but because of fate, they weren't at the right place or the right time, and now they're alcoholics, you know, because they never made it, you know, and it's tough. It's tough once you get on top, like Knight Rider. What happens after Knight Rider's off the air? Who knows? You can look in the TV guide, man. You go back.
That guy used to be David Hasselhoff.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And so it gets real scary, you know, because I love it. I love being on top of this thing. I mean, I eat it up.
Are you afraid when it might fall off?
I'm afraid that I know that I have a backup deal to move on, but I mean, I just assume I'd rather go on for another 4 or 5 years. I'm having a blast. But the pressures are 14 hours a day. Live week to week by ratings. 1 minute you're on top. The unfairness is, before my wife was on TV, everyone treats you great because you're on TV, and then you turn around and they treat her like you know what when you're not around. The same thing happens with managers and people that travel with me. That's unfair. It's difficult. You know, they say you change when you become successful, but what happens is everything else around you changes. All your friends change. You don't get a chance to see them anymore. So some people say, he's a big star, and I have time with me. The problem is I have no personal life, which is okay. I mean, I see my wife maybe once a month, and I have to call her agent to find out when she's off, you know.
Is that really true? Is that really true that you see your wife?
I spent my vacation with my manager in Nassau, you know, and
how wonderful. Where was your wife?
Working on Capitol.
I mean, you literally sing her a few nights a week, a month, or is that really true?
The last time we had a day together was in Nassau on our vacation. We had 2 days, 3 days together, and then she split, and I stayed for a week. And what happens is she works, and then on weekends you've got car shows, or you've got publicity, or I have a racing team. We do a lot of work with terminally ill kids. You know, and we realized this going into it, but after a while, you know, you say, I've got to stop, or they're going to be holding a benefit from me.
David, excuse me, I mean, I don't need to pry into your life, but how can you keep a marriage going when you see the person that presumably you love the most once or twice a month? I couldn't do that in my life. How do you keep a marriage going?
It's, we are each other's best friend. We realized when we got into it that we love each other, but we would not be happy unless we were both working. So right now, things are working just fine. It's just, hopefully she'll be off the soap. She'll have her own series so that we will go into hiatus together, where we could have 3 months to rekindle, you know. So right now, it's working. It's a grind, though, man. It's a grind.
Let me ask you one question about marriage. Why'd you get married?
Because I fell in love with my wife.
But why get married?
Because
lots of people your age are saying, let's live together. We don't have to get married. Why marriage?
Because I wanted Catherine to feel like she was special. And it wasn't just another fling or another lover. I wanted her to feel that she was the one. And also, I believe in God, and I believe in marriage. And besides that, Catherine looked great in a wedding dress.
Dave, let's talk about something. Your reputation is of a man who is very, very committed to kids, and particularly ill children. What's the origin of this interest in sick kids?
It came from a guy named Randy Armstrong, who was 16 years old and came to visit the Knight Rider set. I get emotional every time I talk about this kid. This has been 4 years ago. And he was buried in his Knight Rider hat and jacket, and his last wish was to meet David Hasselhoff, and that's pretty heavy pressure, man. And since then I've had 100 kids come to see me, and some from Romania. We had one from Yugoslavia, England. Their last wish is to ride in Kit or go to Disneyland or meet Mr. T or David Hasselhoff, and so we founded a race team, an Indy race team, with Ari Leyendyke, who is our driver.
Race for Peace.
It's called Race for Life.
Race for Life.
And what it is we grant the wishes of terminally ill kids. We bring them to the races to meet the Knight Rider. In fact, every town that we come into, we contact the Make-A-Wish Foundation or the Starlight Foundation, and also the Burn Foundation, and we bring the kids out. But it was something that I really think that's one of the reasons I got Knight Rider. You know, is it because somebody said that, hey, if he's a Knight Rider, he can bring happiness to a few kids. So let's give him this shot for a little while, you know. So and it's a way to pay back, because, I mean, I'm complaining because I lost my luggage. You know, these kids are dying, man, and there's a lot of them out there. I mean, a lot. And when they come to the set and they run into your arms and they say they love you, you know, and they're 4 years old, you turn into jello, man. So we figured out a way to raise some serious money and to help as many as we can. And we intend to make a couple $1 million for these kids next year, and these kids are going to be flying everywhere, especially